Hey, everybody. Once again, here we are on a Monday, and I am Beth Knaus from That's a Spade Copywriting Services, bringing you a Monday Minute or minutes, something for you to think about as you go forward with your content writing and your messaging for your business this week. And I find myself lately talking a lot about stability in your messaging and foundation and what you're actually relying on when you talk about what you do. And, there's parts of what we talk about in our business that change, right? If we decide that we're going to offer a new service or we've learned something new, and so we're refreshing how we work with people, or because we make those changes, maybe you raise your prices a little bit, your market is changing. So your language, some of your language is going to change, but you will have more flexibility in that language if you have stability and feel grounded in your foundational messaging. So, maybe you took the time, and I've talked about this before, to really dive into your messaging. I don't mean just writing down a bunch of stuff and handing it over to somebody else to let them put it together. I'm talking about really taking the time to answer questions until you have nothing left to say about those questions, and reflecting on how you want people to see you, right, in your messaging when you're answering those questions. And then, of course, figuring out what your values are. And I always like to say, your values are great, but how are you using those values, and how are you implementing them in a way that benefits your clients or your customers? And for me, the way that you project those values every day is through your strengths, right? Your strengths are the action, right? The value is like the noun is the thing, right? And then your strengths are the verb or the action that actually put those values into place every day when you work with people. So all of that stuff needs to be pretty clear. So I like to think about two different things, right? I like to think about buildings. So, and it makes me think of the Leaning Tower of Pisa, although I don't think that's why it's leaning. But, if the foundation of a structure is not solid, then that structure is going to be uneven. It's going to be unreliable. And at worst is going to crumble, right? Same thing with a cake. If you go to make a cake, you could be beautiful at the decorating piece, but if your layers aren't even, and if your bottom one isn't even if you take I just said even like 20 times, if you take other even layers and you put it down on that base one that is not even, your cake is going to be lopsided, no matter how pretty your frosting is, no matter how well you make flowers. So everything really starts with that base, right? And going back to buildings, if you're building a house, if you're building a ranch house, it requires a totally different foundation than, say, a house that's like, a 4 or 5 bedroom, 3-bath colonial, right? The foundation is different. Or, even if you're putting in front steps, it depends on how much you're going to put on top of it. So for the longevity and scaling of your business, you really want to make sure that foundation is strong. And once it's strong, if you need to be flexible in your other messaging, that's easier. And I think a lot of the times we flail all over the place a little bit. And this is why I always recommend, don't jump into a website, right? Because we really don't know if our messaging is working until we work with a couple of clients. Your foundation can be there and the basics, or even worse, if you rushed and they're not there, then your content isn't going to connect with the right clients, right? So you can see how everything, there has to be this, oh gosh, what's it called? I can't think of the word right now, but it's a word like when all of your systems in your body are working together. It's like euphoria for your symptoms, right? When everything is just in the right place and working together really smoothly for the best potential outcome. And that's what you want for your language. So, ask yourself, Are you saying one thing one day and saying another the next? Or do you write posts differently than you speak on video? Or do people meet you in a networking meeting and then go to your website and feel like it's a different person there that's speaking to them through the words? You want all of that stuff to be consistent so that you show up maybe with a different energy in each place, but always with the same foundational base that you start from, because you can always rely on that, right? When people challenge you or question you, or maybe they have a hard time buying into what you do and the way that you do it. But, if your foundation is strong, you can always go back to that and feel really good and calm about it. So I want you to think about that as you go through your week and as we head into this final quarter of 2022, and how you can help make your foundation more stable and your messaging more clear. So I hope everybody has a great week, and I will see you again next Monday.